Welcome all to JJ Isaacson Field here at Seymour Smith Park for our Monday Night Doubleheader. It's the Filth Ballers and the Red Raiders ×2. Our first matchup has the Filth Ballers at 15-4, are the home team up against the 3-13 Red Raiders. My name is Jaden Taylor. Alongside me is Brendan Preisman. It's an 85 and beautiful sunny day here in Omaha, Nebraska. Definitely a different day than yesterday. It was hot and humid, but a little bit of breeze, a lot nicer Monday.
Yeah, 12-mile-an-hour wind coming southeast right now. Certainly a cooler day than yesterday, but an absolutely great day for baseball, and we've got two exciting baseball teams going at it today. Should be a fun game.
Yeah, the teams at the top and the bottom of the standings, these teams have just met once this season, but let's give you a little bit of a recap of these last couple of days. Let's look at this past Thursday, the 3 games here in the Corn Belt League this past Thursday. The Red Raiders, after winning 2 and seeming like the only team they could beat was the Bombers, they dropped to the Bombers 7-3. Right back after that, the Royal Blue Dogs take down the Black Sox 5-4 on Thursday out at Iowa Western. And then the 8 p.m. matchup, the Filth Ballers, actually that's going to be a switched-up matchup. The Rail Riders beat the Filth Ballers 4-3. Apologies for that change. The Rail Riders beat the Filth Ballers in that one of the biggest upsets that we've seen this season. The Filth Ballers, although one of the hottest teams that we've seen all season long, still holding themselves at the top spot, currently just 2.5 games above the Black Sox, so have skidded a little bit in their last couple of games. Let's look at Friday's matchups. The Haymakers take down the Crop Dusters 4-1. The Filth Ballers bounce back with a 12-7 win over the Bombers, and the Red Raiders skid continues as they drop to the Royal Blue Dogs 3-1, and the pitchers duel between those two. It seems like the offense just cannot get going for the Red Raiders this season. A league worst 205 average as a team. Let's look at yesterday's games. We saw 3 different games, Sunday's games. Black Sox took down the Rail Riders 7-4. Rail Riders back again on a doubleheader here at Seymour Smith Park. They lost their second game 4-1 to the Haymakers. And the Crop Dusters, a big upset once again. AJ Ventry goes 116 pitches, 8 walks, 4 strikeouts, but figures a way to get a big win over the Filth Ballers. And again, we talked about maybe a little bit of a skid for the Filth Ballers, losing the last 3 of 4, but I mean, they still look to be going and getting back to their usual ways. Both teams were off yesterday, but we saw 3 games yesterday here at Seymour Smith Park. The 2 p.m. game, Rail Riders take down the Bombers, Royal Blue Dogs take down the Crop Dusters, and the Black Sox blow out the Haymakers on a 4-run top of the 7th inning for them, a big win for them. And they now are just 2.5 games underneath the Filth Ballers for the top spot. Looking at our 4 games here today, the Rail Riders and Black Sox, it's a 7-1 game in favor of the Rail Riders about midway throughout there at Iowa Western. You're going to see here Filth Ballers and Red Raiders doubleheader, and the 7 p.m. matchup out at Iowa Western, the Haymakers taking on the Royal Blue Dogs. Let's look at the standings here that we've seen. You mentioned just 2.5 games. The Black Sox are right underneath the Filth Ballers, so creeping up a little bit. The Haymakers are still there with their dominant pitching staff. The Bombers and Rail Riders kind of work in the middle of the pack with the Royal Blue Dogs as well. In the bottom of these standings, the Crop Dust and the Red Raiders, they've kind of been sticking themselves in the bottom 2 spots this entire year. But the Red Raiders a chance here to go up against one of the top team in the Corn Belt League this season, but oddly one of the slower teams these last 4 games.
Yeah, well, it's certainly interesting to see what's happened because aside from the Rail Riders, the Filth Ballers didn't lose a game from June 10th until July 9th, and that last game was the game against the Crop Dusters that you mentioned. They're 15-4 on the year, but they're 4-3 in their last 7. They have really struggled as of late, and maybe, like we've mentioned on a couple previous broadcasts, it's other teams figuring them out. Maybe it's the hitting slowing down as the pitching starts to adjust, and that could also explain problems with the Red Raiders too, because they scored 8 or more runs in 3 straight games from June 25th to June 28th. They've scored just 12 runs total since then. They lost 2-4 to the Black Sox, then 2-10 to the Haymakers, then 1-3 to the Royal Blue Dogs, and 4-7 to the Black Sox. Their offense has really struggled, and they're going up against a team led by Brendan Anderson that has one of the best offenses, if not the best offense, in this league. So if they're going to get in a shootout, they might be in big trouble.
Yeah, I think arguably, I mean, you can very well say the best offense in the Corn Belt League this season. Yeah. Best average, best OBP, best slugging. You have that up. Best OPS this season. I mean, most extra base hits they've had of any team this season has been the Filth Ballers. You know, they just have that dominant offensive core. And you mentioned Brendan Anderson. He's going to be our impact player of the day here for the Filth Ballers. A .412 average. That is best in the Corn Belt League this season. You also talk about his on-base percentage, just second at 11.05, right behind Spencer Crane for the Black Sox. He's 21-51 in this season, 9 doubles as well as 2 triples. Also tied for the most runs of any player in the Corn Belt League this season, tied for second of any runs in the Corn Belt League this season with 16, right behind his own teammate and Tyler Levi as well as Trevor Winterstein at 18. So again, the offense is there, and a guy at the middle of the order has been Brendan Anderson. And talking to him as well as Coach Hobbs this season, it's just been about those two, making sure they have that same look between the two. Between those groups, I mean, that same look between Coach Hobbs as well as Brendan Anderson, that feel between those two, the connection they've had for so many years is a big reason why Anderson's doing such a great job this year.
Yeah, it's the trust, and Anderson has certainly done a good job at building up that trust by hitting as well as he has been. Like you mentioned, first or second basically every stat, but it's not just him. He's their best player for certain, but he's not their only good player. They've also got Jackson Horn and Landon Geezer. Both those guys are top 5 in the league in RBI this year. Horn is also 4th in slugging percentage. So even if Anderson does get shut down, which is extraordinarily rare, they've still got other guys that can pick up the slack, and it's their offense that has made them the best team in the league.
Yeah, a couple new guys are actually going to see in so many pieces of the offense that we've seen for the Filth Ballers. Looking at the Red Raiders, going to come a lot to Gabe Britetic. Originally, we thought it'd be Ty Beasley here today. He's not going to start our first game, but in our first game, we'll talk about Gabe Britetic. 296 average this season, 6 walks to 2 strikeouts, 6 runs, 4 RBIs, a 762 OPS, and for an offense that has struggled so much this season, I think the spark for those back-to-back wins this past week for them was Ty Beasley, but a depth piece is going to have to be Gabe Britetic to be able to help out this group get some kind of life offensively against the Filth Ballers today.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, Britetic has just been consistent all year, and you talked about just the 2 strikeouts. He's such a consistent hitter. He doesn't necessarily get much for distance. He's only got 1 extra base hit on the year, but 8 hits and 27 at-bats is a really good stat line, and the fact that he's been able to draw 6 walks as well shows you that he's just a really patient hitter. He takes what the pitcher gives him, he takes what the defense gives him, and that's really what this Red Raiders offense needs, is some consistency, because I mentioned that they've been in a rut the past couple of weeks. What they might need is just, a 2 of 3 day for Britetic, and that might be enough to get the offense going again.
We'll take a quick break here on the Corn Belt League Network. Once we come back, we'll get you starting lineups and get you to first pitch here at JJ Isaacson Field. just seconds away from first pitch here at JJ Isaacson Field. Let's get you the starting lineup here for the Red Raiders. They'll start it off with their shortstop, number 53, Isaac Sherrill. Designated hitting at the second spot, number 42, Gabe Ratetic. In the 3 spot, number 36, Arrow Wallen. The third baseman, left fielder, number 40, Dalton Nelson, hitting the 4 spot. First base, Mitchell Baker's number 28, hitting the 5 spot. At 6 spot, the right fielder, number 48, Tanner Versalino. Behind home plate in the 7 spots, Alex Martucci. Number 43, second base is number 6, Ben Harkin. And rounding out the order for the Red Raiders is number 9, Noah Triggs. On the bump here today, you're seeing throwing the first pitch is CJ Fleeman. The first one is outside for a ball.
And Fleeman's a very solid pitcher. He has been all year long for the Filth Ballers. 16 innings pitched, 15 hits, just a 1.29 ERA. One of the more dependable pitchers, not just on the staff, but in the league as well.
Yeah, Fleeman out of Columbus. You mentioned the just staggering, incredible 1.29 ERA. This entire pitching staff has just been dominant. 2.50 team ERA, which is really unheard of for a lot of different teams here in the Corn Belt League. A best 2.50 ERA, a best 1.25 whip, and they've had loads of different guys to be able to work with whenever they need it.
I mean, when you have the best offense and the best defense, you're probably going to have a pretty good team.
2-1 pitches upstairs for a ball, and Fleeman now behind Isaac Sherrill.
And getting a base runner on early would be really good for the Red Raiders. Fleeman only gives up about 1.4 base runners an inning. And that one just inside.
Yeah, moves the count back to full. Sherrill, even at the top spot in the order, struggling this season. A 154 average, just 4 for 26. Trying to find an early base runner here for the Red Raiders. This one grounded over to second base. Great play by Nick Ripa. Throwing to first is in time. And you mentioned just how good the pitching and the offense has been for the Filth Ballers. The defense has been superb as well. You saw an outstanding play defensively right there by Nick Ripa. A 956 fielding percentage this season, just 10 errors in the entire defense for this Filth Ballers group, and they've just been able to do it all. Trying to bounce back a little bit after somewhat of a skid. Not a ton of teams would say the skid, still over 500, but still definitely working back their ways here in the second half. That'll bring up the designated hitter, Gabe Ratetic. Who's our impact player here today. Hitting just below 300 at 296.
And you mentioned how good the fielding was. Honestly, it's shocking to me that the Filth Ballers are only 15-4. You tell me that they've got the best offense, the best defense, and the best pitching staff in the league. I'd struggle to say that they would have lost a game yet, but that's the beauty. You have to play the games, and the Rail Riders especially have taken full advantage of that any given game scenario. They've handed the Filth Ballers 2 of their 4 losses on the year.
2-1 pitch coming here from Fleeman. This one pops and foul. Last time these two teams played, Ratetic was the biggest piece on offense in a 9-inning game, a 10-3 loss for the Red Raiders. However, Ratetic went 2 for 3 with a double. Also did have an RBI in that double.
And the cleanup hitter today, Dalton Nelson for the Red Raiders, he went 2 of 4 in that game as well and had 2 RBIs, so he was another key for their offense. The issue was the defense just couldn't keep up with the Filth Ballers. We talked about Brendan Anderson in the pregame. That game he went 2 for 4, so just another typical day at the office for him.
Anderson's been doing that all season long. We'll get more into him when we see the Filth Ballers up to bat here in the bottom of the first. Gabe Ratetic back-to-back plate appearances where the Red Raiders have moved the count full, and Fleeman starting to work his count early. 3-2 pitch outside for ball 4, just pushed off the outer half, and a 1-out base runner on the walk for the Red Raiders.
And Jaden, you talked about the count getting high, and I do think that's really important for the Red Raiders because like we talked about in the pregame, Fleeman is one of the best, perhaps the best pitcher in this league. If they are able to force him out early, perhaps in the 3rd or 4th inning, that means they'll have 3 innings of relief pitching, which has been somewhat unreliable throughout this league for most teams, including the Filth Ballers. So if they're able to force the Filth Ballers to dig into the bullpen early, they might have a chance to steal this game.
Courtesy running over there at first, number 24, Aiden Augusta. Augusta does have 3 stolen bases this season, so maybe a little bit for Fleeman, the lefty, to look at. This is third baseman Errol Wallen as he takes a big hack at the first pitch for strike one.
And Wallen, a new addition to this team, came on after the season started, but so far he's been one of their most dependable hitters. Just 8 plate appearances, but he's already got 4 hits for a .500 batting average. I know it's a small sample size, but so far he seemed to be one of their more dependable hitters since he showed up.
Yeah, we're going to see a couple new different guys for both of these teams. Errol Wallen, like you mentioned, Derek Sr., as well as Caden Mathewson, new additions this past week and a half for the Filth Ballers. We'll see once we get to the bottom of the first. Fillion looks back at first. Runner is off. This one grounded into the 5-6 hole. It's going to be a single. Augusta will stay at second, but station to station now. The Red Raiders have 2 on with 1 out.
Yeah, and that's not a good spot you want to be in if you're C.J. Fleeman. This is already 2 base runners, far more than his season average of runners allowed per inning, and just 1 out as well. So now with Dalton Nelson, who's one of the other more dependable guys for this Red Raider squad. Nelson has 7 RBIs on the year, a .467 slugging percentage. He's got 3 extra base hits. He gets another one here. That's 2 runs across for the Red Raiders, and that could really change things up in this game.
Nelson pops this one near the right field line. Tough play for Nolan Christensen to make. He grabs it. Strong throw towards third is going to be cut off as Augusta stayed at second. Didn't want to test the arm at Christensen. Christensen out there in right's mainly been the center fielder this season, but with Trevor Winterstein being so dominant these past couple of weeks, you talk about Brendan Anderson, you could very well say Trevor Winterstein has been even better for the Filth Ballers these past couple of weeks. He's been one of the most consistent hitters at the top spot for the Filth Ballers.
Well, yeah, he's hitting .365, absolutely. He's been incredible on the year as well. It just goes to show you the embarrassment of riches that the Filth Ballers have in their dugout, that a guy who's leading the league or second in 4 different batting categories might not even be the best hitter on his own team.
This is the first baseman, Mitchell Baker, as after he fouls one off, he looks at an off-speed in there for a strike. Fleeman, you saw there, really more look like the curveball. It's come out of the left side. He's going to work a fastball, curve, change, and slider mix. Slider's going to move truly like a usual slider, not as much like a slurve. This one, another one driven into the left field gap. This one is going to go to Caden Mathewson. Throw's going to come home and be cut off. And the Red Raiders strike first. Aiden Augusta comes around to score on the Mitchell Baker RBI single. And it's 1-0 in favor of the Red Raiders.
Nice piece of hitting there from Mitchell Baker, too. Just waited on the right pitch, and his 5th hit of the year, 3rd RBI. That's a big-time hit from the 5-hitter, especially when it looked like the Filth Ballers had a chance to get out of the inning unscathed. He put some damage across. That could be huge later in this game.
Yeah, for Fleeman, who's 2-0 on the year with just a 1.29 ERA, going up against the honestly weakest offense that we've seen here in the Corn Belt League's already given up a run and possibly a chance for more here for the Red Raiders. This one driven over to Nick Ripa. He'll make the play, and that'll end the inning. However, on 2 hits, 1 run comes across for the Red Raiders. They strike first as we head to the bottom of the first. The Filth Ballers look to answer back. Back to start off the bottom of the first for the Filth Ballers. Look at their starting lineup here today. They'll start it off with one of the hottest hitters in the Corn Belt League these past couple of weeks, the center fielder, number 42, Trevor Winterstein. The third baseman will bat second, the number 7, Landon Geezer at short. Batting third, number 28, Jackson Horn out of Papio South. The impact player of the game is batting fourth, the designated hitter, number 4, Brendan Anderson. Batting fifth, the new guy out of Buena Vista, the left fielder, number 30, Caden Matthewson. Batting sixth here for the Filth Ballers, number 33, Hunter Scruggs. Behind home plate, number 46, Derek Sr. Second baseman, number 24, Nick Ripa, bats eighth. Batting ninth, the right fielder, number 13, Nolan Christensen. And the extra hitter rounding out the order here for the Filth Ballers, number 34, Trace Mahachik. On the mound here today for the Red Raiders going to be TJ Swaney. Swaney in 6 appearances this season. It's his first start. He's mainly worked out of the bullpen, 0-1 on the year, a 5.91 ERA. Just 15 runs, 6 of them unearned. 9 hits this season, 20 strikeouts, but does struggle to command it sometimes. 17 walks on the year as well. Brendan, what are you seeing from TJ today?
Well, I got to talk to TJ a little bit before the game, and he said that his fastball is sitting around 85, 86 miles an hour right now. Normally throws a two-seamer in there, but also has a pretty good arsenal behind that as well. He can throw a pretty good curve and a slider, and he'll throw a changeup too if he needs to. But like you said, the walks have been the biggest issue for him. 17 on the year. Other than that, he's been very solid, giving up just 9 hits compared to 20 strikeouts. If he's able to figure out the control, there's a chance he could shut down this Filth Ballers offense, but it's going to be a tough task for him.
Yeah, it's kind of been all or nothing for TJ Swaney this year. As the first pitch is upstairs for a ball. We talk about the struggles with the command, finding outside of the zone for the first pitch of the day, Trevor Winterstein.
Yeah, I know sometimes you might want to get a guy to chase, but you got to make the pitch a little chaseable, and that one was not hittable from the get-go.
Yeah, Sweeney now falls behind here 2-0. Winterstein, Augustana University, played his high school days at Elkhorn South. He leads the Corn Belt League, or is tied for the number 1 spot in the Corn Belt League with 18 runs this season. Does also have 6 RBI, 3 doubles, and a triple. He's been in the lineup since day one, 52 at-bats this season. And for Coach Hobbs, he's just been the guy at the top of the lineup that has really embraced that role. He gets on a lot of 441 on-base percentage. And just helps the team out and keeps them going, especially earlier in ball games.
Yeah, and he's a patient hitter, too. Has 7 walks compared to just 5 strikeouts and 19 hits, 4 of them for extra bases, like you said. Just a really patient hitter, a really smart hitter. And like we talked about earlier, it's that trust from a coach. That trust has to be built, and Winterstein has built it by, like we see there, being able to draw the walk.
Yeah, the plate appearances, the disciplined plate appearances have been the big thing for Winterstein. That's his 8th walk of this season. And with nobody gone, the Filth Ballers maybe trying to answer back with a 1-run deficit after the Red Raiders started off early, working up against C.J. Fleeman as a runner on first with nobody out.
And Geezer's one of the better guys you want to have up in this situation. He's got 13 RBI. That puts him 5th in the Corn Belt League right now. Definitely a great guy at hitting when runners get on base.
Yeah, team third, 957 OPS. You mentioned the 5th best, 13 RBI. Does also have 16 runs on this season. He's come around to score a lot. Just 1 double. Does have 2 triples, though. So does have the ability to show off his power when needs to. 0-1 pitch is upstairs for a ball.
And he can get on base just as well, perhaps even better than Winterstein can. He's got an on-base percentage of .492 this year, so it's basically a coin toss that when he gets up to the plate, he's going to get on base.
Yeah, team second, .492 OBP. Also a team second, .465 slugging percentage. Runner is off from first, ball's in the dirt, and an easy stolen base for Trevor Winterstein. And that is his 11th of this season. He's 11 of 12 now as Winterstein. And again, you talk about, the offense is great, the defense is great, the pitching is even better. But you add on to that, 67 stolen bases this season. Just 3 of 16 guys in this team that have had an at-bat this season have a stolen base. That's incredible. Have 13 guys in your team that are able to show off the speed when need be. And they've just taken every bag they can have in front of them.
Yeah, and it's not like they need to take too many. They're leading the league in extra base hits as well, but when they get singles, it's almost certain that at least somebody's going to be able to stretch that and get to second base on a steal.
2-2 pitch swung on and missed. The first strikeout of the day for TJ Swaney. And Landon Geezer is checked down for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up the shortstop, number 28, Jackson Horn.
That's just the third strikeout of the year for Geezer. It looked like Swaney might have gone with the changeup a little bit there. A smart pitch at a great time. Gets a man out when he has a guy on second. Good start, good recovery after giving up the opening single.
Horn looks at a first pitch ball in the dirt. Horn this season, you mentioned Geezer and Winterstein, both out of Elkhorn South. Horn, one of a couple guys here in the Corn Belt League. Talk about Jackson Trout as well as Horn coming out of Papio South. Horn, another guy who we saw as really, a lot of people saw as the favorite for their hit of the week last week. He was one of the hottest hitters that we've seen these past couple weeks here in the Corn Belt League. A CBL fourth best, 14 RBI on the season, and a team tied for second and 16 runs. He chops this one back to second. Strong play right there by TJ Swaney to keep Winterstein back at second. He throws the first in time. And a quick 2 outs and a really smart play right there. Swaney, knowing he had time, making sure he checks back at the second, Winterstein back at second, makes a strong throw on to first. And we now see our impact player of the game, Brendan Anderson.
And this should be very interesting because we've got Swaney, who's one of the smarter pitchers in the league, going up against Anderson, who might be the smartest hitter in the league. 21 hits in 51 at-bats, 11 for extra bases, 26 RBI, leads the team and the league with that, hitting .412. He's only struck out 8 times. This is a guy who is almost certainly going to get on base at some point today, and when he hits the ball, he's going to hit it hard. A slugging percentage of .667. Just incredible power on that bat.
And you maybe think as Swaney comes straight towards Brendan Anderson, you think at times you see the hottest hitter in the league maybe want to pitch around him and try to get him to swing and miss a lot more often. Anderson hasn't walked or struck out in 6 games. And over 2 weeks of games, he hasn't had a free base either way, or given up a freebie or taken one himself. And it's kind of odd to think about. All these pitchers are still going straight at him, and he still finds a way to get hits.
Yeah, he's a smart hitter. He's a good hitter. And he's just able to put his bat on the ball more often than not.
Down 0-2 here. Fastball in the dirt underneath the catcher. Runner's going to head to third. Still looking around for it is Alex Martucci. He finally finds it about 2 feet to the left and behind him. I'll call that one a pass ball, but another free base for Trevor Winterstein after he stole second. And now the tying run here in the bottom of the first, just 90 feet away here with 2 outs.
And that's really not what you want if you're the Red Raiders, because like we've brought up so many times, the Filth Ballers are the best in the league at basically everything. You don't want to make it easier on them to push runs across the plate.
Swaney misses out. Usually count back up 2 apiece. You mentioned the discipline for Anderson this season. Just the 3 walks, but really like to work a lot of long counts and find the pitch he really wants. 2-2 pitch coming to him. Swung on and missed. The first strikeout in over 2 weeks for Brendan Anderson as TJ Swaney is fired up. We'll head to the second. The Red Raiders strand a runner at third and they lead 1-0.
And off the Red Raiders in the top of the second.
1-0 Red Raiders as we head to the second inning. CJ Fleeman back on the mound after a 21-pitch first inning. Started off with a ground out, a walk, and then a single. A single later on drove in a run. And it's 1-0 Red Raiders. The RBI single from Mitchell Baker currently has it where we are as Fleeman now looks on at Alex Martucci, the catcher. Martucci this season still looking for his first hit.
Yeah, it's been a real struggle for him. He's a patient hitter, but maybe a little too patient. Does have 2 walks and been hit by a pitch twice on the year, but there are times where it seems like he waits too long for that right pitch and ends up either grounding out or just letting it go by for a strikeout.
Oh, 2 pitches. Not in the zone for a ball. Apologies for the audio change there. Fleeman again still trying to adjust out of the first inning. He's been dominant all season. The Red Raiders now maybe with a little bit more energy here trying to get to Fleeman's head a little bit.
And if they don't get in his head, I'm sure that 1-0 run on the scoreboard will, because the Filth Ballers aren't used to being down that much. Like we said, 4-3 in their last 7, but other than that, they've been dominant. And Fleeman bounces back nicely there.
Fleeman gets his first strikeout of the day up against Alex Martucci. Martucci, that's his 9th strikeout of this season, a team's 2nd worst. And again, the struggles continue for him. Just 4 times he has reached base this season, has not gathered a hit. And we'll see what the rest of this bottom of the order can do here for the Red Raiders. Big swing and a miss right there from Ben Harkin, the second baseman. Harkin, another guy that's really struggled to play, 1 for 15 on the year, does have 3 runs.
But he's also got 10 strikeouts, even more than Martucci does. And he's going up against CJ Fleeman, who's one of the better strikeout artists in the league with 14.
Yeah, Fleeman, even with the strikeouts and 14 of them like you mentioned, he's kind of been a guy that has a lot of weak contact, almost an 80% weak contact percentage. That's incredible to think about, of how well he's been able to get weak contacts. Was a really big thought process with Corey Palmer, who we saw these last couple outings. That's been the biggest thing for him as well for this Filth Ballers pitching staff, but sometimes that's come back to bite him a little bit. He's gotten pieced up here and there.
Because even weak contact, if it's hit to the right gap, it can get through, and we've already seen that a couple times today with the singles from Wallen and Baker that led to that 1-0 lead for the Red Raiders that we see right now.
1-2 pitch off speed, check swing, he did not go. And Fleeman with that, talk about an 80% weak contact percentage, a 77% fly ball percentage. So he is really doing a good job of getting guys to just chip themselves underneath the ball and allow his outfielders to do the work.
And they do a lot of good work, like you mentioned, the best fielding percentage in the league as well, just 10 errors. It's a team full of strengths, and even looking at their losses, it's difficult to find any weaknesses. But like the other teams, when they've won, when they've beaten the Filth Ballers, they have earned those victories.
Back-to-back strikeouts for CJ Fleeman. Able to set down Ben Harkin. The 2 guys most vulnerable to the strikeout go back-to-back up against Fleeman. 2 gone here for the 9-hole hitter, Noah Triggs. The 4-pitch mix has worked well for Fleeman. At least up here, it really seems like he's mainly been working the fast curve and slider. Haven't seen the changeup too much, but that changeup will really more work like a 2-seam, just kind of a changeup that just dies to his arm side. Fastball in there for strike 1 to Noah Triggs.
And Triggs less vulnerable to strikeouts. He's got 9 on the year, a much better hitter than Martucci or Harkin. He's hitting .294 on the year. But like you said, it's that weak contact that can get him, because Triggs only has 1 extra base hit on the year. So if Fleeman's able to induce him into just getting a bloop grounder or maybe a pop-up to shallow center or shallow left, then he's going to be able to get out of the inning anyway.
Maybe less susceptible, but still 9 strikeouts, so not what you really want to see. 0-2 pitch. Strike 3 on the off speed, just barely catches the outside. A beautiful bounce back inning for CJ Fleeman. He strikes out 3, and that will do it here in the top of the second. We head to the bottom of the inning. The Filth Ballers looking to find themselves back in the lead.
For the Filth Ballers,
We're
the
through in
left
an
fielder,
inning and a
wide
half,
receiver,
and
seed number 30,
Filth Ballers
JJ
currently find
Isaacson.
themselves the deficit down 1-0. CJ Fleeman, after a struggling first inning, bounced back in a big way. The bottom half of the order, a 14-pitch inning, 3 strikeouts, take down Martucci, Harkin, and Triggs. And the Filth Ballers looking to answer back in the bottom of this inning as that one goes way away from TJ Swaney for a ball. The first pitch to the left fielder, number 30, Caden Mathewson, first at bat here in the Corn Belt League. He's been dealing with a wrist injury these past 3 or 4 weeks. Has not had the opportunity to play for this group. He's at a Buena Vista University, just ended his junior year there. Biggest thing for him, talking to him before this game, he just wants to find a way to get barrels and get more barrels. That's been the emphasis for him.
The issue is, though, Swaney, not a pitcher who allows a lot of barrels to be gotten by hitters. As we talked about in the first inning, 9 hits. The trouble's been with the walks, and it looks like we might be heading for another one here as the count goes to 3-0.
There it is. He called it, Brendan. 4 straight balls from TJ Swaney in back-to-back innings. The leadoff hitter gets on with a walk.
Now batting, the first
But Swaney also bounced back nicely from walking Winterstein in the first inning. Got 2 strikeouts and a ground out right back to himself. So he's certainly proven that he can bounce back from a leadoff walk.
First pitch is upstairs to the first baseman, Hunter Scruggs. Scruggs this season, another guy that is showing off his power, a .519 slugging percentage. That's second on this Filth Ballers team, as he's now finds himself ahead in a good count, 2-0.
Certainly a great extra base hitter. Of his 9 hits, 3 have gone for extra bases. He's got 8 RBIs on the year. A pretty solid hitter just in general as well, hitting .333, so certainly a guy who can get on base if he needs to, but where he is in the lineup in the 6th spot, he is much more suited as a power hitter.
2-0 pitch finds the zone. No green light there for Scruggs on that one.
And that was a great pitch from Swaney. Started out high and inside and dipped low and outside at the last second. Really good pitch for Scruggs, who was probably expecting another ball.
2-1 pitch, runner is off, ball's in the dirt, and easy stolen base for Caden Mathewson. That was another thing for him. One of his biggest strengths has been his base running. He got a great jump off of TJ Swaney, and no chance even for a throw as Alex Martucci got in front of it. He'll come out and meet with TJ Swaney, maybe calm him down a little bit as he's falling behind the back-to-back hitters. The offense has been the biggest piece of all pieces that have been just a luxury for the Filth Ballers this season. 8 guys with an OPS over 900. And the walks have been there as well. Disciplined plate appearance right there for Hunter Scruggs. Back-to-back walks on just 9 pitches. And 2 runners on here with nobody out. An opportunity for the Filth Ballers to get a scoring chance.
Yeah, and this could be trouble for TJ Swaney, because one thing the Filth Ballers are very, very good at is taking advantage of runners when they get on base, especially in a situation like this. 2 on, no out. If Senior is able to get on base, then this could be real trouble for the Red Raiders. We might see 2, 3, maybe even 4 runs come across this inning.
Yeah, that's another guy, Derek Senior, who's new at least this past week, but like Ira Wallen, for the Red Raiders, he started off really helping out this team. A .429 average, 6 for 14 in his first 7 games here in the Corn Belt League this season. He's played 7 of the last 9 games here for the Filth Ballers, all 9 of which that he was a part of the team. And Coach Hobbs has really liked to use him. Just ended his career at Clark State. He'll head to Norfolk State after a dominant campaign. This one driven into center field. Noah Tree's going to come on, make the play, and no chance for Caden Mathewson to tag up at second. He'll stay there. So able to find a barrel was Senior, but unable to find a gap, and 1 gone here in the second.
And that was a much needed out for TJ Swaney. Now instead of 2 on, nobody out, it's 2-on with 1 out, and neither of them were able to advance, so it's still just first and second. And with a guy like Nick Ripa coming up, who's got just 5 hits and 32 at-bats on the year, that's a much easier situation for TJ Swaney to face.
Nick Ripa, like you mentioned, kind of the only struggling piece that we've seen consistently find his way into the lineup for the Filth Ballers this season. Just batting 156 on the year, does have 8 runs and 2 extra base hits with the 2 doubles, but 5 for 32 on the year. He looks at bunt. Let the runners chase back as Mitchell Baker, the first baseman, came on looking for the squeeze.
And Ripa, maybe not as good a hitter as some of his teammates, but certainly one of the more speedy guys on the team. You mentioned 2 extra base hits, both doubles, and the 8 runs. He's a great base runner when he has the chance to get on. It's just that he's had that chance less than a lot of his other teammates so far on the year.
Yeah, 3 stolen bases once he gets on to first or second. Has been caught stealing once. Trying to come through here with 1 out, get a team AB up 3-0 and make it 4-0. A walk here from TJ Swaney. 3 walks in the inning have loaded the bases for the Filth Ballers with 1 out. And now we'll see the 9-hitter, not a slouching one at that, Nolan Christensen, as Josh Ostin will come out the mound and talk to Swaney a little bit.
Yeah, and I think this is what's needed for TJ Swaney because, like we said, the control has been the biggest issue. He allows almost 2.5 base runners per inning, 2.44 walks and hits per innings pitched, which is not very good compared to the rest of his team. He's been able to get a lot of strikeouts. He's got now 22 on the year, but the walks are just proving to be too much. That recent walk was his 21st, and it looks like he's going to stay on, but this is certainly a really tough scenario for him now. Christensen, a good hitter, 11 hits, hitting .234 on the year. He's also got 12 RBIs. If Christensen puts a ball in play, it'll almost certainly score somebody. So Swaney's got to be really careful with what he does.
Yeah, Christensen was the Corn Belt League hitter of the week to start off the year in the first week of the season. Has died down a little bit since then, batting .234. We're looking for a big RBI spot here with the bases loaded. Again, the double play is in order. The defense playing pretty straight up. Third baseman Ira Wallen playing even with the third base line, so thinking a hot shot towards him, going straight back to home. Big spot for the Filth Ballers. Can not only tie this one on 1 up, but maybe blow it open. And Swaney, man, just cannot find the zone right now. Is kind of worked multiple different arm angles. And working over the top, it just hasn't quite worked.
He's thrown just 2 strikes this inning, and he's already, I think, nearly at 20 pitches in the inning. It has just been – the control is almost gone completely for him, and that is really trouble for the Red Raiders.
2-0 pitch. The off-speed is able to find the zone.
Needed that one.
Yeah, Christensen, I highly doubt seeing a curveball go in there to him, was wanting to swing in the 2-0 after he's struggled with 6 straight balls. A big 2-1 pitch coming here to Christensen. Another curveball. That one, they'll call that inside. And now Swaney in jeopardy of walking in a run.
And for Christensen, I know, like you said, he's kind of cooled off hitting, so he probably wants to get a hit, but a walk here would not be the worst thing in the world. Because either way, a run scores, and it looks like it will.
There you go. 4 walks have played it in a run. The pitching struggles for the Red Raiders show off here. It's a tie ball game, just at 1 apiece, but still bases loaded and just 1 out. The extra hitter, number 34, Trace Mahachik. Mahachik, again, even out of the bottom of the order, has been just incredible. .364 average on the season. He's 8 for 22 with a 1050 OPS. And the energy right now, you can hear it. The Filth Ballers dugout is getting loud and energized now. And that was actually one of the biggest points of emphasis to talk about for the Filth Ballers, specifically CJ Fleeman, of how to get their mojo back and find themselves back the way they need to be, to find the way they were in the first half, was bringing back the energy. And they're showing it off right now. A really loud dugout going on right now. There is a righty now up in the bullpen. for the Red Raiders. That's going to be number 29, Jacob Aber. We'll see how much of a leash they want to give Swaney here, really struggling here in the second.
I'm not sure Swaney should come back in for the third because clearly the control has been lacking. That was pitch number 22, I believe, on the inning for him. Just 4 of them have been strikes. So I would say that if Aberg doesn't come in next inning, he should come in the inning after that because Swaney clearly doesn't have the same stuff he did in the first.
2-1 pitches in there for a strike. Now Mahachek finds himself back even, working on Swaney. The corners, it was originally the infield. The middle infield moved back looking for the double plays. It's still in order. The corner infielders are playing for possibly a bunt defense look here. That one's fouled back and off the fence. Errol Wallen is working just on the infield lip. Mitchell Baker is actually pretty far back over there at first base. Middle infield trying to still work for a double play. A double play here would be exactly what Swaney would need. See what these guys can do here. Trying to get one himself here on the 2-2. That one's upstairs for a ball. And again, the curveball's really been the only thing that's worked this past inning. 2 of the 3 strikes that we've seen coming into this plate appearance were on that curveball.
And Jaden, you mentioned a double play. I think that's huge too because not only then are you out of the inning, but you don't have to deal with Trevor Winterstein at least until the top of the third.
Big strikeout right there for TJ Swaney. Gets him on the slider, working on the outside, and got Mahachik to chase. It's the 3rd strikeout of the day for Swaney, and maybe a little bit more comfortable getting himself set in there, trying to grind his way out of this second inning.
You got to be careful, though, with a guy like Winterstein. Smart hitter, 19 on the year, but also good at walking. Has 8 walks, including 1 in the bottom of the first.
He drives this one deep down the right field line. That one's going to stay fair for extra bases. Trevor Winterstein is going to clear the bases with a 3 RBI triple. The ball goes into left field. Well, the Filth Ballers, after tying this one up, put on 3 more and take back the lead 4-1.
And what a shot from Winterstein. No waiting at all, just first pitch swinging, and he crushed that ball to deep right field, reached the wall on 1 hop, and now if you're Jacob Aber working in the bullpen, you got to start working a little bit faster because now it's 1-4, still just 2 outs, still a man in scoring position for Landon Geezer. This could get very ugly very quickly.
It's Winterstein's 2nd triple of the season, as this one driven from Landon Geezer. That one's going to drop in the right center gap for more extra bases. Geezer will end at second. He will stay there. A stand-up RBI double, and the offense continues for the Filth Ballers. It's 5-1.
They're the best team in the league, and they're certainly playing like it right now. I mean, it's incredible. You look down, and all of a sudden there's another Filth Baller on base. I was still tallying all the runs and RBIs from the Winterstein triple, and then Geezer comes right back up, first pitch swinging, and crushes it to right center. I mean, this is just an incredible performance right now from the Filth Ballers offense.
Yeah, that's going to be the day for TJ Swaney. We'll take a quick break here on the Corn Belt League Network. The Filth Ballers have added 5 runs here in the bottom of the second on just 2 hits. Pitching change here for the Red Raiders is going to be Jacob Aberg. It's the day for TJ Swaney. 1 2/3 innings of work, just 2 hits. And the last 2 batters, actually. 5 runs plus. Still is responsible for the runner out there at second. That's Landon Geezer. Allowed 5 walks, had a wild pitch with just 3 strikeouts. And again, we talked about the biggest struggle for Swaney was the walks. He now has 22 on the season in 7 appearances.
Yeah, certainly not what you want to see out of a pitcher, but it's not just a Swaney problem, it's a league-wide problem. I remember on the podcast a couple weeks ago, Jaden, we talked about how the pitching was a problem, not just for the Red Raiders or the Filth Ballers, but for basically every team in the league, and it is that control that you struggle with, because as a pitcher, it's either you put the ball outside or you make it super easy to hit, and trying to find that sweet spot in the middle is really difficult for some guys. And today, after the first inning, Swaney just wasn't able to find that sweet spot.
Yeah, the walks have been struggling for the new starting pitcher as well. Jacob Aberg from Cloud County Community College, 4.2 innings of work this season in 3 appearances. Does have 1 hit allowed, but 6 runs, just 1 of them earned. However, the problem for him, 7 walks compared to 2 strikeouts. This one driven to center from Jackson Horn. Noah Triggs able to make the play, and that will end the second. However, the Filth Ballers add on 5 on just 2 hits and 4 walks. We'll head to the third. Filth Ballers leading this one 5-1. Filth Ballers lead this one 5-1 after a 5-run bottom of the second on just 2 hits. A 3 RBI bases clearing triple from Trevor Winterstein and an RBI double from Landon Geezer. Brought in 5 runs. Did also have 4 walks in that inning from TJ Swaney. He was pulled in just an inning and 2/3 of work. 49 pitches, just 19 strikes, 30 balls.
And 5 walks. Got as many walks as he did outs, and you're not having a good outing if that's your stat line.
This one's popped up and caught by the first baseman and Hunter Scruggs. That was the top of the order, and Isaac Sherrill. And we'll see now the designated hitter. 0-for-0 on the day is number 42, Gabe Bratetic. He walked back in the first.
Who's also the guy who came around to score after Aiden Augusta came in to pinch run, so the run credited to both of them, I believe. But was able to get on base in the first and is partially responsible for that run that scored. But it's a different time now in the game. Fleeman appears to have settled down significantly. The Filth Ballers, as you mentioned earlier, have a different energy in the dugout. It's a much different situation than it was 0-0 at the top of the first.
Fleeman working much more comfortably After that first inning, you mentioned the walk to Bertetic, the single right after that from Iro Wallen, as well as Mitchell Baker that brought in the first run of the day. And we thought, okay, of all days, is the Red Raiders going to try to put something on one of the best pitchers in the league in C.J. Fleeman. That's not been the case. 3 straight strikeouts the inning later in the bottom of the order. And now a 4-run cushion for Fleeman and these Filth Ballers going to be a lot more comfortable up there on the mound.
Yeah, certainly. I think that's always the case with pitchers who have a big lead like that, is they know they're able to work more rather than just working to get outs. They're able to work their stuff and try and get the out the way they want rather than just as quickly as possible. He's got a little bit of cushion now that if he makes a mistake, it's not as bad as if he would have in the first inning because his team's got a bit of a cushion for that.
Back-to-back off-speed right there from Fleeman. He finds himself now down 3-1 to Bertetic. This one, meaty fastball is going to be lifted out there to right. Going to be a long run for Nolan Christensen as well as Trevor Winterstein. They collide.
I think
Did
somebody
they make
caught
the
it.
Play?
Somebody
the
did,
catch
yeah.
was caught. Who was it? I believe it was Winterstein in center. But an incredible play by Trevor Winterstein. A little bit of a lack of communication out there in right center between him and Nolan Christensen. But maybe a little bit of a sigh of relief right there as both of them got up just fine. And the ball was in Winterstein's glove.
Incredible play from both of them, and you could see the effort. That's basically square in the middle of right center. That is not an easy ball to pick up for either of them, but both of them running full tilt, not caring about their bodies, just going all out for the ball. A great play, and I think that's partially why the Filth Ballers have such a good defense this year, is because they give that much effort every single ball.
This will bring up now Iro Wallen, third baseman. He had the first hit of the day for the Red Raiders. He's been on a tear. I mean, to start off this season, or start of his season with the Red Raiders, a little bit of a late addition for them. But you mentioned, Brennan, he's just kind of been a little bit of a spark for this offense that's definitely needed it.
He certainly has. In 8 at-bats heading into today, 4 of them went for hits. He's got an RBI, a run, and a walk on the year as well. So just a guy who's really good at getting on base right now, which is exactly what this Red Raiders team needs, not only in this game, being down 5-1 in the top of the third, but also just in general because the offense has really struggled the past couple of weeks.
Curveball right there finds the zone just on the outer half. And now we see Wallen now behind 0-2 to Fleeman.
And after that first inning, Fleeman's just been incredible, except for that pull by Bertetic to right center.
This one driven deep down the left field line. It drops about 2 feet in front of the left field fence, but foul.
Well, that could have almost been very bad because I was about to say, except for the hit into right center by Bertetic, Fleeman hasn't really been in danger of giving up a hit at all since the first, but that one nearly very dangerous.
Oh-2 for the second time here. This one grounded over to the third. Landon Geezer picks it up. Throw on to first is in time. That will end the inning. After a 5-run bottom of the second for the Filth Ballers, Fleeman seems to be in the zone. Back-to-back innings where he sets the Red Raiders down 1-2-3. We will head to the bottom of the third. The Filth Ballers look to add on. 2.5 here at JJ Isaacson Field.
Leading off, the
Red Raiders started off the day with a walk and 2 singles, got the first run of the day, then a 5-run inning this past inning in the second for the Filth Ballers. Have us where we are at. 2 teams, they're somehow even in hits, but the walks from TJ Swaney were the problem, and a 5-1 lead here for the Filth Ballers as we bring back up our impact player of the day, Brendan Anderson.
Yeah, struck out in the first inning, but a very rare strikeout, just number 9 on the year in 51 at-bats. And
well, he makes up for
Yep,
it. A
there you
single
go.
right there in between the 5-6 hole just outside the arms of Isaac Sherrill, the shortstop. And now it's just nobody on. Brendan Anderson starts off strong. And a runner at first here for the Filth Ballers.
that is hit number 22 on the
Now,
year for
the
Anderson,
left fielder,
extending
Red
his
Raiders
team-leading
number
mark.
30,
Just
Jaden
an incredible
Atkinson.
season he's having. I'm not sure if we give out season-ending awards at all for the Corn Belt League, but if we did, he'd have to be in consideration for several.
When you talk about Anderson's just ability all around the offensive categories, he has the power, he has the speed. 2 different triples this year.
Yeah.
For a guy that is
We ask that you please turn off that ball to the
5'10",
first or third base
200
side.
pounds, has 2 triples this season. He can show off the speed when he needs to. Has been disciplined too. Does have more strikeouts than walks, but not by an incredible margin.
He's got more extra base hits than he does strikeouts, too. So just goes to show you how good of a hitter he is, and there he goes.
Anderson's off and doesn't even have to slide into second. It's his 5th stolen base of the season. And Anderson gets Jacob Aberg sleeping a little bit up there on the mound, and now a runner in scoring position here with nobody gone.
And we talked about the intelligence of Anderson quite a bit, but that there was just a great opportunity for him to steal, and he took full advantage, knew when the pitcher was going, and just bolted. Great play from Anderson.
This is Caden Mathewson. He finds himself ahead now 2-1. Of course, Mathewson, we mentioned, first day for him here in the Corn Belt League, just over halfway into the season, has been dealing with some wrist injuries at a Buena Vista University. He walked this past inning back in the second, started the long 5-run rally for the Filth Ballers. 2-1 pitch to him. He grounds this one over to first and foul.
Smart play by the first baseman Baker for the Red Raiders to let that one go foul, because he could have easily picked that up before it got past first base and gotten the out, but that would have also allowed Anderson to get to third. By letting it go foul, he keeps Anderson on second. Really smart play there from Baker.
Aberg maybe trying to get one himself. That one way outside. Anderson, little caution.
that'll
He goes
be
to
close.
third, slides in. Ball goes off the glove area of Wallen. And there you go. You show off the speed. Brendan Anderson is in third, now just 90 feet away from being another insurance run here for the Filth Ballers, and we're only in the third.
That was a bold move from Anderson to go on that play, because that bounced off the catcher towards the third base line. It wasn't a difficult play for the catcher to get the ball and throw it to third. Anderson just beat the throw in time, and that's where having both size and speed comes in, was able to force the drop by the third baseman Wallen.
3-2 pitch, a little half swing right there from Caden Mathewson as he strikes out. First strikeout of the day for Jacob Aberg. And this season,
Now,
just his
the first
third.
baseman from the University of Sioux Falls.
And you mentioned
number
that, I
33,
mean, not only was that
Monster
ball
Swab.
moving towards the third baseman here, Wallen, when it got off the glove of Martucci, but you add on the fact that it was a lefty up there in the first place, just thinking about stealing third with a lefty up to bat rather than a righty. That's a hard task to master, but Anderson does it. You talk about so many things of why this team wins. It's not just the offense. The offense isn't always there. Sometimes the defense isn't always there. Sometimes the pitching isn't always there. They've figured ways to win games. That's the way the Filth Ballers have been these past 2 seasons. This one, driven over to third here. Walden's going to throw home way out the line towards the first baseline away from Alex Martucci. Hunter Scruggs is going to head to second. Throw is cut off. And an error right there from Errol Wallen. And the Filth Ballers add on one more, and that's a play you got to make if you're the third baseman.
Yeah, Wallen, relatively new to the league, like we mentioned, has only had 10 at-bats on the season. But still, that's a relatively routine third-to-home throw. You have to know in that situation that you got to throw home and it's got to be accurate. And that throw, well wide, barely even hit the batter's box. Just not a good throw from Wallen. And that's the real trouble when you're playing the Filth Ballers, is that even if they don't show up, you have to be on your game the whole time. Because if you're not, they will take advantage of it like Anderson did on the base pass.
This is Derek Sr., the catcher, another new addition to this team these past couple of weeks for the Filth Ballers. He flew out to center this past inning in the second. 0-1 pitch way inside off the glove of Alex Martucci. An easy extra base as Hunter Scruggs heads into third. Another wild pitch that gets away from Aberg. And the Filth Ballers, after being down 1-0 after one, are looking to now blow this one wide open.
Yeah, and control's been a problem for Aberg too. Has 7 walks, has hit 3 on the year, giving up just 1 hit in 4 2/3 innings of work heading into today. But it's the walks that have given him trouble too.
1-1 pitch that Senior did not like, chased way out of the zone and slammed his bat after that one. Definitely was guessing on that one, not quite happy with it. 1-2 pitch coming from Aberg. This one grounded over to short. Only play will be to first as Isaac Sherrill throws it in time to Mitchell Baker, but a run does come in. And the Filth Ballers have added 2 more here in the third. They lead by 6, 7-1.
And some great base running all around from the Filth Ballers. First, Anderson getting the steal and then advancing to third on the wild pitch. Then Scruggs also getting able to go to third on the wild pitch after getting to second on a throwing error, then coming home on the fielder's choice. An excellent decision there all around by Anderson and Scruggs.
I mean, talking about some of the small things, you mentioned that if you're a team going up against the Filth Ballers, you got to do just about everything right to be able to take them down. And all of these small things have led to the Red Raiders being in this position. The air, the 2 wild pitches, the 5 walks to start off the day from TJ Sweeney. All of those small things you just cannot do up against such a potent offense in the Filth Ballers.
Yeah, and it's like you said, sometimes they don't show up, sometimes they have struggles pitching or defensively or hitting, but you don't want to make it easier on them by gifting them extra bases, or if their pitching isn't doing well, by swinging at poor pitches. You just don't want to give them opportunities to get going, because when they do, like they did last inning and like they are this inning, it's trouble. It's real trouble.
2-1 pitch coming here to Nick Ripa. Ripa swings and misses on that one. And he finds himself back even at 2-2. Ripa walked this past inning in the second. Like we mentioned, 1 of 4 walks in the second, 1 of 5 overall for TJ Sweeney. 2-2 pitch to him. He drives this one down the third base line. That gets past the glove here of Wallen into the left field. Down foul. Nick Ripa is going to try to stretch into extra bases. He will stand up at second with ease. And we'll see if they officially call that one an error or a hit, but a hard play for Wallen either way. And Ripa now stands at second.
Yeah, the hitting just continues for the Filth Ballers. That was a hard hit ball, and even if Wallen was able to get his hand on that, there's almost no way he's able to make the play at first. But it's like we just said, you can't give them anything extra. If Wallen's able to just knock that ball down, then Ripa probably sits at first instead, but now he's on second.
They will officially call that a double for Nick Ripa. But that's his 3rd double of the season. And another runner in scoring position here with 2 gone for Nolan Christensen. Christensen walked this past inning in the second, also kind of collided with Trevor Winterstein on an odd play. He pops this one up shallow, kind of Bermuda Triangle area in left field. Able to make the catch and call everybody off is Isaac Sherrill. And the Red Raiders finally able to get out of this third, but not without some damage. The Filth Ballers add on 2 more on 2 more hits. They lead this one as we head to the 4th, 7-1.
Nelson.
Middle of the order here for the Filth Ballers. 4, 5, and 6, Dalton Nelson, Mitchell Baker, and Tanner Versalino trying to find some kind of offense down 6. Filth Ballers had 5 runs in the second on 4 walks and 2 hits, added 2 more hits and a couple free bases on 2 wild pitches and a stolen base in the third, and they have 2 more. That's where we're at here. Red Raiders, after maybe seeing some life in the first, being able to strike up against CJ Fleeman. Fleeman has entirely turned the tides here. 3 strikeouts, has taken down the last 7 consecutive batters for the Red Raiders in the last 2 1/3 innings. This one driven into center. Trevor Winterstein underneath it. Maybe a little more communication with Nolan Christensen out there and right. He makes the play. And, man, Fleeman is just rolling here. 8 consecutive batters retired.
Yeah, and since that RBI single from Mitchell Baker, he's allowed just 2 balls out of the infield in fair territory. That was the second one. The first one, as you talked about earlier, was that collision between Winterstein and Christensen in right center. But he has just been dominating this offense ever since that first inning ended.
First pitch to Mitchell Baker. There you go. Commentator jinx once again. That one.
I'm good at those.
Hey,
I'm really good
at those. That one falls between the 5-6 gap, and Mitchell Baker is on with a single. And we talked a little bit about the just uncharacteristic ways that Fleeman just been able to get a lot of weak fly balls this season. 77% fly ball percentage. And he's just kind of done the same way here today when he's giving up balls outside of the infield. It's those 3 different fly balls that we've seen out to center and right, and it also have a line out to the second baseman, Nick Ripa. 2 ground outs, and those singles, all 3 singles that we've seen from the Red Raiders today have all gone in that 5-6 hole.
Mm-hmm. And 2 of them have been from Baker.
Now Baker's kind of been the biggest offensive piece here today. 2 for 2 with 2 singles back in the first and then just now here in the fourth. This is Tanner Versalino, a right fielder. He lined out to Nick Ripa, like we mentioned, back in the first. And CJ Fleeman now finds himself down 3-0 in an uncharacteristic spot, or an uncomfortable spot for him. There's been a hadn't counts almost all day long.
Yeah, one of the few times he wasn't was actually in the first inning when he occasionally struggled to get to deal with Isaac Sherrill and Gabe Retitic and guys like that. But he seemed to figure it out since then. We'll see if he can figure it out right here going up against Versalino.
3-1 pitch, that one foul back and off the fencing. It's been all Filth Ballers so far. After the Red Raiders struck first in the first, 7 unanswered runs. Here's we're starting off the 4th inning. 3-2 pitch, that one grounded over to short. Possible double play opportunity. Horn to Ripa over to first. Not in time to Hunter Scruggs. Excuse me, yes, it will be. Whoa.
That was close.
An odd call right there. They call Versalino out at first. He didn't like it, but a double play nonetheless.
6-4-3.
And the Filth Ballers get out of this one 3 straight innings to where Fleeman's been able to go 1-2-3 up against the Red Raiders. We head to the bottom of the 4th. The Filth Ballers way on top of this one, up by 6. of the fourth here as the Filth Ballers lead this one 7-1. Want to take away any misconceptions on this past inning. The 6-4-3 double play between Horn Reba and Hunter Scruggs. The runner did get to first on time. However, they're going to say that Mitchell Baker going from first to second did not attempt to slide going into second. So runner's interference will be the call to end off the double play and end off the fourth for the Red Raiders. So and it seems like every single time the Red Raiders get an opportunity, they keep shooting themselves in the foot.
There's been a lot of errors and wild pitches on the defensive side and then on the offensive side. When they have been able to get on base, which hasn't been often, they just haven't been able to run the bases very well. And that's why they're down 6 runs right now.
This is Trace Mahachik at the 10 spot here today for the Filth Ballers. He struck out back in the second. 2-0 pitches upstairs, and Aber again struggling to find the zone. Doesn't have a walk so far, but it really seemed like every single at-bat this past inning he found himself behind. That really forced himself to put a little bit too much meat over the heart of the plate. 3-0 pitch, no green light there, but that one catches the outer half for strike one.
And, yeah, I think that's troublesome for pitchers too, because sometimes walk counts can be deceiving because as a manager, you'd much rather give up a walk than a double. But if you're a pitcher who's down 3-1 in the count, you're probably going to put that ball a little closer to the center of the plate than you would like. So a walk wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing in the world, like it is there for Mahachik, because him being on first is a lot better than him being on second or third.
So that walk will bring up the top of the order once again, Trevor Winterstein. And you think about the walk, then that can lead to some inopportune things, but the change, the triple from Winterstein is passed back at bat in the second. Chase DeLoach will come in, 2 courtesy run at first for Trace Mahachik.
He's got 7 runs on the year, a very fast base runner.
Yeah, DeLoach has been all over the country. He's going to head to second. The ball got away from Martucci. He'll get in there
got
safely.
Away from everybody.
Ball got away from everybody, like you mentioned. He's going to third. And
wow.
Chase DeLoach somehow turns a dirt ball read halfway delayed steal into 2 bags. And, man, this game has just been all Filth Ballers. They have another runner in scoring position here with nobody out.
Give them an inch, they take a mile. Like just one mistake, a ball in the dirt ends up getting it DeLoach from first to third. And I was just talking about how good of a base runner he was and proved me right there almost instantly. Just an incredible start to this inning for the Filth Ballers.
Mahachik again switches out for DeLoach. DeLoach talking about being entirely across the field. He's been entirely across the country, going from North Atlanta to Maine to here. This one driven out into right center field by Trevor Winterstein. Ball is caught by Noah Triggs, but that one's going to be deep enough to score DeLoach. So an RBI sac fly for Trevor Winterstein. And it's an 8-1 ball game in favor of the Filth Ballers.
Excellent play by Triggs, though. He was going full tilt for that ball. That was probably closer to right field than it was to deep center. But Triggs able to make a play on it. Unfortunately, because of the poor fielding from earlier, it's able to score a run, but that shouldn't take away from what was a pretty solid play by Triggs.
This is Landon Gieser, the third baseman. He's 1 for 2 on the day. Had the RBI double, which brought in Winterstein back in the second and struck out back in the first. 1-0 pitch from Aberg. He misses the zone once again. Again, it's not quite just the fact that he's missing the zone. Although he does have just 1 walk, it's been being behind in counts and giving up too much over to these hitters. This one grounded over to short. Sherrill picks it up, throwing to first, is in the dirt and gets away from Mitchell Baker. It was going to be a hard pick either way. And Isaac Sherrill with the short throw. It'll be the second error on the day from the left side of the infield.
So they are going to call it an E3 then?
They'll call it E6.
E6, okay.
E6. It'd be a hard pick for Baker to get to that one. It was a long stretch for him. The throw was way short.
Yeah. But again, you can't give the Filth Ballers that type of momentum. they've been given so many second chances by the Red Raiders, and they've taken advantage of all of them.
First pitch from Aberg is upstairs. This is Jackson Horn, the shortstop. One of the only guys in this team that struggled here today. 0 for 2, grounded back to TJ Swaney in the first, then flew out in a piece ball to Noah Triggs in the second. He
There
now
you go.
lays this one out into right field. And now runners at first and second with one out, and a much-needed single right there for Jackson Horn. And he finally gets on the scorebook with a hit.
It's number 21 on the year for him.
Now batting, the designated hitter from Missouri Western State.
And
number 4, Brendan
now our impact
Anderson.
player gets to come up with only one out and men on first and second.
Yeah, this is Brendan Anderson. 1 for 2 on the day with the single to start off the 2-1 rally this past inning in the third. Struck out in the first and looking for his 27th RBI on the season. His 26 RBIs coming into this one. That is better than the second best by 10. You can combine the second and seventh best RBI leaders in the Corn Belt League, and that would add up to make it even to Brendan Anderson. He has just been dominating out of the 4 spot this season.
And he's had a pretty solid game so far as well today. Got a single into left in the third inning, last inning, and then stole second, advanced to third on a wild pitch, and then came around to score on a throwing error from, I believe it was third. But he's just made his mark on the game. Even when the stat sheet doesn't suggest it, even when he's not going 2 for 3 with a double and 3 RBIs, he's still impacting the game every time he comes to the plate.
Aberg taking his time out there on the mound. He checks back. Geezer at second. Geezer getting a pretty big lead. He's off from second. And a wild swing, a little bit of a hit and run set on there by the Filth Ballers, and Anderson just had to chop that one away. Definitely not what he wanted, and honestly, I think both Geezer as well as as well as Horn probably could have reached basically on the base on the double steal.
Yeah, it certainly looked like they were heading that way. And again, it goes to show you the intelligence of the Filth Ballers when it comes to base running, because both of them read the situation perfectly.
2-2 pitches upstairs, a ball, and it moves the count full to Anderson. The righty has now gone up in the bullpen for the Red Raiders. Once we get the number, we'll give it to you, but we'll see how long they want to allow Aberg here as he's setting himself a little bit more into a hole as he steps off the mound. Full count pitch is inside for ball 4. And Aberg has loaded the bases here with just one gone. And we'll see now another talk out at the mound. We'll see if this is the day for Aberg. Jacob Wilson will come out and talk to his reliever. I highly doubt this will be the day for him, as the righty just started warming up in the bullpen. If I'm correct, I believe it's number 32, Ira Lee. I could be incorrect.
That'd be interesting, because Lee does not have any pitching experience so far this year.
Actually, he does have one innings of work.
24, I think. That might be Aiden Augusta.
Yes. Yeah, you were correct. Aiden Augusta out there. 5 1/3 innings of work this season. 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, and 8 strikeouts.
He also is responsible for that Red Raiders run. And remember, he pinch ran in the first inning for Gabe Bertidik and ended up scoring.
So after Brendan Anderson walks, this is Caden Mathewson once again. Bases loaded. That one gets away from Alex Martucci. Another free base and another easy run for the Filth Ballers. And this one is getting uglier. It's 9-1 now. As the Filth Ballers have tacked on 9 unanswered runs. And not only does that bring in another run, it takes out the double play, which could have been in order. And the Filth Ballers still have 2 runners in scoring position for Mathewson.
And there's still just 1 out.
Long day for the Red Raiders, and we got another one after this here at 8 p.m. Another pitch way outside the zone. Martucci had to jump back out to try to get that one. He's shaking his head a little bit. It's been a long day for him behind home plate. He's had to jump around for a lot of different balls.
Remember, the first guy he dealt with had 30 balls to just 19 strikes, and now he's dealt with a couple of wild pitches in these past couple innings. There was another one well outside. This is, like you said, Jaden, it's going to get ugly pretty soon.
Aberg has 2 wild pitches. Swaney had 1. Aberg so far now 43 pitches, trying to match up with Swaney. Has just 22 strikes.
Ooh.
And there's another one.
And that'll load the bases back up.
There's another walk right there. Back-to-back walks from for Caden Mathewson. He's 0 for 1 on the day with 2 walks, but back-to-back walks given up from Jacob Aberg, and that's going to be the day. They're going to actually switch out to a guy not even in the bullpen. It looks like Noah Triggs might be coming in. But either way, we'll take a minute here on the Corn Belt League Network. The Filth Ballers have blown this one open. It's 9-1. Another pitching change coming here shortly. Pitching change here for the Red Raiders. It's going to be number 9, Noah Triggs, as he comes straight in from center field with not a lot of warm-up, trying to get out of this inning, which has been a nasty one.
Another nasty one.
5 runs, in the second, 2 runs in the third. 2 runs already here in the fourth, and bases are still loaded with just 1 out.
Yeah, it's been that kind of day for
This
the Red
one
Raiders.
popped up, shallow center field,
Uh-oh.
and a hard play, but Ben Harkin does a little dipsy-do to make that catch for the second out of the inning, and an efficient start for a guy that has not pitched this entire season in Triggs.
Well, 2 pitches, already got 1 out. That's exactly what you want from him. And I got to say, I'm impressed with Harkin, too, especially with the sunlight. Did you see that Red Sox error from a couple of days ago where the fielder just, completely missed where the ball was?
There's a lot of those.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those around. That one gets away from Martucci. Another run comes in. Everybody moves up 90 feet.
Yeesh.
And it is now 10-1. This is Derek Sr., who just looked at that ball in the dirt. Hunter Scruggs, the one that popped out to the second baseman, Ben Harkin. And this game just continues. A top team in the league going up against the bottom team in the league. And it's more lived up to expectations to an extent. Definitely a little worse than I think we thought, but
Yeah, certainly.
a little odd off-speed 3/4.
That was a good pitch, too.
That was an eephus. That was an eephus-looking pitch right there. But falls in for a strike.
You've played baseball. I haven't. To me, any pitch that is a strike looks good. And I think for the Red Raiders, that might be the case right now, too, because they have allowed so many base runners to come off of pitches outside the zone.
1-1 pitch way inside. Again, I want to remind those Noah Triggs is not thrown this season.
And he also started this game in center.
And, yeah, so.
And is due up in the top of the 5th.
We'll see how that change happens because, again, they're only batting 9, so no extra hitter, so no easy change back and forth. You might have to drop to a true 9 here today for the Red Raiders for the rest of this one. And we'll see what they can do here. Trying to get out of this inning. 2-2 pitch coming here from Triggs. 2 runs in scoring position. The Filth Ballers already adding 3. That one way out of the way. That one hits the backstop. And another run comes in. And this inning continues. It's 11-1 now in favor of the Filth Ballers. And again, the free bases have just powered on. There's been a lot so far. Already here in just 4 innings of work, not quite. 6 wild pitches and 8 walks. Triggs is able to end the inning with a strikeout up against Derek Sr. And we are through 4. The Filth Ballers, man, this one is wide open to say the least. An 11-1 ball game. We head to the top of the 5th. We'll see what the Red Raiders can do. could be the final chance here for the Red Raiders, down by 10. The run rule here in the Corn Belt League, 10 after 5, could be enforced here if the Red Raiders do not tack on at least one here in the top of the 5th. It's been all Filth Ballers after honestly a strong start in the first inning for the Red Raiders. Thought we might see a ball game, but 5 runs in the second, 2 runs in the third, and 4 runs this past inning in the fourth. And the Red Raiders are just about out of arms. They've had to go to their center fielder and Noah Triggs to get out of this past inning. This one driven out to left, over the head of Caden Mathewson. It's going to be extra bases for Alex Martucci.
No,
Excuse me, that's going to be a pinch hitter, but he's going to head on to third.
Yeah, this is Ethan
He'll get into third safely with a triple. That's Ethan Nissen. Apologies for the change. The Red Raiders go to the bench and now have an opportunity to get themselves out of the run rule.
Your attention, please. Now, batting.
That was a nice piece of hitting from Ethan Nissen. His 3rd hit of the year, first one going for extra bases, but just took it for a ride over the head of the left fielder, Mathewson.
Apologies for the change again. That is Ethan Nissen out there at third. Aiden Augusta now coming off the bench to hit now after warming up, then going to run, then warming up again, then possibly pitching. Now he's batting. And they're really going to the depths of the bench to try to work here. That one's chopped over to the pitcher, going to stay fair. Fleeman will throw it on to first. Over to Hunter Scruggs, as Ethan Nissen will stay there at third. And one gone here in the 5th.
Now batting, the pitcher from Peru State College.
This will bring up the center fielder, now pitcher, Noah Triggs in the 9 spot. Triggs 0 for 1 today.
Struck out looking to end the second in what was really, I think, a big momentum shifter because the Filth Ballers hadn't scored a run yet at that point. It was still 1-0.
He drives this one in the left field, and the Red Raiders have scored a run here in the 5th. The run rule is out of play.
Not necessarily.
Well, for this inning,
yeah.
For the top of this inning,
yes.
Yes. For the top of this 5th inning, yes. Triggs able to answer with a single after the leadoff triple from the bench and Ethan Nissen.
Well, that's
bring up the top of the order.
Well, I think that's secretly what all pitchers wish they could do is help themselves get run support, and that's what Triggs just did.
First pitch to Sherrill. This one grounded over to short. Throw on to seconds in time. Throw on to first is just a bit late. And the fielder's choice from Sherrill. Good strong throw right there from Jackson Horn, having to go off his back foot. And able to make the throw over to Nick Ripa. Ripa able to have a quick turn, but just barely about a foot and a half behind Isaac Sherrill as he was running down the line pretty quickly. Fleeman checks back at first. First pitch is swung on and missed. This is another change here for the Red Raiders. It's Jacob Aberg in the designated hitter spot for Gabe Ratetic. That one's foul.
Did that go off his bat or
that was foul.
Okay.
A little check swing action right there from Aberg and went towards the Red Raider dugout. And Fleeman now ahead 0-2. Pick back over to first. Got in front of a good play right there by Scruggs to keep it in front of him. The odd throw right there from Derek Sr. Kind of a throwaway pitch there on 1-2. Fleeman looks back at first and delivers. 1-2 pitch way outside. Another pick back to first. As Senior is having a lot of thought process. The man over there at first and Isaac Sherrill.
I do wonder if they're just trying to end the inning by getting Sherrill out at first rather than having to deal with Bertitic and potentially another hitter after him.
2-2 to Aberg. This one lifted Shallow into right field. Christensen comes on, able to make the play, and that ends the inning. Here in the top of the 5th for the Red Raiders, they do tack on 1 and get themselves at least 4 of this inning, at least the top of this inning, out of the run rule scenario, but the Filth Ballers are still up big. It's 11-2. Bottom of the 5th here, the Filth Ballers up big. But Brendan, you talked about nothing is done until it's done. And our first game over at Iowa West in the 4 p.m. matchup over there here in the CBL. Originally, the Rail Riders were up 7-1. That one's gone final. The Black Sox came back, scored 13 unanswered runs, and they won it 14-7. So nothing's over till it's over.
Exactly, yeah, and it's like I said in the pregame, just because this is the best team in the league and the worst team in the league doesn't matter that much when the play actually starts. Any given thing can happen on any given day. That's why in the MLB there's so many wild card losses from division winners. It's because it's a 1 and a 3 game scenario. It's just one game where you go out there and crazy things can happen. Now, are the Red Raiders going to win this game? Probably not, but they could.
Yeah, I think the mentality has to be, like we mentioned a lot with the Crop Dusters of kind of how their playing style was, especially in such a wacky Tuesday like last week where it was pouring down rain. They still wanted to play because they just have that loose mentality to where they're just going to go out there, try to swing away, swing freely, and that's got to be the mindset right now. If you're the Red Raiders, just play freely, try to get outs, and maybe find a way to make this one interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, certainly right now the Filth Ballers have been playing with a lot more pizzazz, especially on the base pass.
Two-two pitch is upstairs for ball 3. Noah Triggs maybe finally getting a little bit warm now, working up against Nick Ripa. Full count pitch is, they're going to call that one strike 3. Definitely a little bit of a gimme call right there, but in a game like this, although Ripa didn't like it, maybe the home plate umpire giving a little bit to Triggs, and they'll call that one a strikeout. Second strikeout now for Noah Triggs in his first pitching appearance this summer. This will bring up Chase Deloach. We saw him courtesy run for Trace Mahachik earlier in this game. Now he's coming in for Nolan Christensen. He flies this one.
That's going to be a tough play.
4 guys come on. Diving play. Did he make it? No, it dropped. It dropped.
Wow.
In front of the new center fielder. A change out there in center, and Deloach is going to reach on a single here with one out. 4 guys came on to try to make the play. Aiden Augusta is the one who dove for it. It bounced in and out of his glove. And now a runner on with first here with just one out. And again, a reminder, if the Filth Ballers do add on one more run here in the 5th, it's going to be the ball game, a 10-run mercy after 5. And we'll see a change now here for the Filth Ballers. The now extra hitter, instead of Trace Mahotchek, it's going to be Tyler Obrecht.
And Obrecht's had a really solid season hitting the ball. Not a great batting average at just 0.59, but he's been able to get on base with walks and hit by pitches a lot. And if there's anything that this Red Raiders team has proven good at today, it's getting guys on base through walks and hit by pitches.
He drives this one up the middle. Isaac Sherrill able to get a hold of it, but he can't corral it. A solid play by Sherrill, but just kind of driven a little bit too far into center field. It's going to be a single for Tyler Obrecht. Now 2 runners on here with just one out. Just the 2nd hit of the season for Obrecht. And a time, if ever, to swing away with such a big lead. And he's felt comfortable right there, got to find a barrel. And they're going to see now if they're going to have a change here for him. And they will. Looks like they'll have a runner come out for him. We'll see who this is. It'll be number 3, Isaac Bonner.
And it just shows you how tremendous the offense has been for the Filth Ballers. They've been almost carnivorous today. Just every time they've had a ball in the strike zone, they've been able to put a bat on the ball and get it out of the infield. That's incredible.
First pitch is in the dirt right there from Noah Triggs. This is now number 42, back at the top of the order, Trevor Winterstein. Winterstein
He's had a heck of a day.
Yeah, heck of a day. A walk, a bases clearing 3 RBI triple, and a sac fly. 4 RBI on the day for Winterstein. And again, you mentioned some of the bigger guys that we've seen, at least power-wise, in Brandon Anderson and Landon Geezer. But you don't talk enough about Trevor Winterstein at the top of this order. He has just been putting on a showcase these last couple of weeks.
He certainly has. I mean, I'm not sure if he's been up for hitter of the week yet, but he almost certainly deserves at least some consideration because his slugging percentage and on-base percentage are on par with some of his teammates, which is saying something. 441 on-base percentage, 462 slugging. This is a guy who, when he gets his bat on the ball, is going to hit it hard and far. Oh, that's...
Yeah, no, a little bit of a gimme call right there on the 3-0, but definitely no green light right there from Winterstein.
Well, when you're up 11-2, you don't need it.
Trying to put this one away. Again, 1 run. The runner out there, Deloach, will end this game. This one flied out into center. The center fielder was shading towards right field. Catch is made by Augusta. He'll throw onto third to be cut off as Deloach won't test the arm. And now 2 gone here as the Red Raiders hoping to keep their chances alive here in game 1 of 2 here tonight.
Now batting, the third baseman from Southeast Community College, number 7.
I do wonder, though, if it might be better for the Red Raiders just to kind of save, not necessarily their arms because they've already dug deep into the bullpen, but maybe save their fielders and their hitters for the next game because then at least your guys are going to be fresh. They're going to have a little bit of a break. They might be able to have a chance to play a little bit better than this, certainly, because this has not been an impressive performance from the Red Raiders so far.
Yeah, definitely a struggling one. We thought we might see some hope at the end of the first half for the Red Raiders after winning on opening day to the Bombers. They then lost 8 straight. Didn't win for just about 3 weeks. And they won back-to-back games against the Bombers and the Rail Riders. And we thought the fortunes might change as Ty Beasley went off. He was the hitter of the week this past week. But then this has just not been the same case for him. 5 losses right after that. And they are now 3-13. And if it stays where it's at now, 3-14. Another one in the dirt from Triggs. Falls behind now 2-1.
It is kind of interesting that you could argue the best pitcher today for the Red Raiders has been the guy who started the day in center. It's been a rough day for them pitching-wise. It really cannot be expressed enough how much trouble their pitching has caused. And there's some more. Bases are loaded.
Hit by pitch, and of all things, that is just the first hit by pitch of the day for either three of these pitchers.
Somehow.
Now batting.
There's been 5 wild pitches, 8 walks, and now 1 hit by pitch. And now bases loaded here for Jackson Horn. And Horn trying to finish this one up. Bases loaded with 2 outs. 1 runner that comes in would end it.
He's got 14 RBI on the year.
He's been another guy. I think we talk about Anderson and Geiser. He's those 2 guys have just been off the charts. But then you can add guys on top of it with Winterstein and Christensen and Hunter Babe, Hunter Scruggs. Another guy right here in Jackson Horn that's had a pretty incredible season. That one gets away from the catcher.
A walk-off wild pitch.
There you go. 6th wild pitch of game 1, and that will end it. The final here at JJ Isaacson Field, 12-2. And that's your ball game. Don't go anywhere, folks. We got a second game after this here at 8 p.m. Take a quick break here on the Corn Belt League Network. We'll come back with our player of the game here in game 1 between the Filth Ballers and Red Raiders, Trevor Winterstein. here to wrap up our first of two here at JJ Isaacson Field. The Filth Ballers blow this one open. It's a blowout, 12-2. The final just on 7 hits, 8 walks, and 6 wild pitches from the Red Raiders. The pitching was not there, but the offense was for the Filth Ballers, and specifically our guy here, our Kelly Supply Company player of the game, Trevor Winterstein. And man, I mean, you just had an incredible day here. I mean, you've kind of been that guy at the top of the order, that kind of the 1, 2, 8, 9 look. They've had you, Nolan Christensen, Jackson Horn kind of working around in those spots. What's been the mentality for you at the top of the order?
Get my pitch, get on base, start running, steal bags, do what I do best. So really just get on base and let the guys hit me in.
All right, so you guys had bases loaded back earlier in this one. You came up to the plate, 2 outs there. There's an opportunity for the Red Raiders to get out of it, but you found a ball and drove it down the right field line. What'd you see on that pitch?
Well, I saw a hanging curveball, a little high and inside, and can't miss that one. So I just took it, stayed inside the ball, took it down the right field line, did my job. This is what I was looking to do, is just do my job. So thought I did pretty good with that.
I think that's been the biggest thing for you. I mean, you talk so much about the potent offense, the depth of offense for this team. Guys like Brandon Anderson, Landon Geezer, Nolan Christensen, Hunter Babe, and you've been right there just along, really matching up with them. I think maybe a little bit quieter, but you've been just tearing it up these past couple of weeks. What's been, I guess, the feeling for you these past couple of weeks that's allowed you to do so well?
Well, I made a couple of adjustments with my hands because I felt like I wasn't hitting well, and then I literally just made an adjustment with my hand, and I just started seeing the ball bigger and taking it the other way, trying to not do too much at the plate, just trying to get on base really.
All right, so you guys are taking on these Red Raiders here in really just about a half an hour right after this. What's the mentality for you guys going forward to get yourself another win?
Keep it rolling. Our pitchers pitch really well. Hopefully they can keep that up. Hitters, we just need to keep hitting, doing our thing, line drives, putting it in play. And I think it'll take care of itself. We'll get a dub.
All right, that one will end it off here in our first of two. The Filth Ballers will take on the Red Raiders once again, just about a half an hour. I believe 7:35 will be the first pitch time here at JJ Isaacson Field. That will wrap up our first game from Jaden Taylor alongside Brennan Preisman. That'll be it. Have a good evening. Hopefully, you can join back up with us here in just about a half an hour here on the Cornbelt League YouTube channel.